Afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, and welcome to this live learning on Loom. I'll give folks just a bit of time to come on in. Had about 100 signups, which is amazing. Welcome, Barb. Good to see you from Kissimmee. Hope I'm saying that right. There's a lot of M's and I's in there. And glad you're able to join us. And good evening, wherever you are, and welcome to this live learning
I can hear myself.
There we go. Hope there wasn't too much of an echo there. We'll give folks, again, just a couple minutes to join us in Loom, but while we're getting ready, please think about any questions you have or anything specific you want to learn about Loom that we can cover. I've got kind of a general talk track, something I generally do in here, but this is really for the folks who are watching, not for me, so I want to make sure that you get the information you need. So take a minute to write down those questions and get ready, and I will get a little bit more coffee, and we will get started. There we go. All right, folks, we are going to get started in just a moment. I will have some slides to talk about concepts and ideas and to orient us, and then I'll be cutting back and forth between the slides and hands-on. All right, and I already love these questions. Is Loom a separate app that you have to pay for? Differences between desktop and browser version. Great questions. Sanjay, welcome. Chad, good to see you, my friend. Thank you for letting me know, Chad. That also means you can hear me, which answers my next question. Barb, I will answer that question very shortly, and Chad, I'll talk about that one as we go. But if I fail to get into it deeply enough, please call me out, Chad. All right, folks, we are going to get started. And just start, quick way of an introduction, and I'll put a quick poll. So my name is Rob. I've been using Atlassian products, but specifically Loom. I've been using specifically Loom for about 3 years. And I started using it like many tools when I joined a company that just happened to have it. So all of my training was someone just telling me, hey, there's this video recording thing we have. I said, oh, that's great. And before that, I hadn't regularly used a tool that can capture video and messages and send them easily. I've used things like QuickTime and other screen recorders. I know you will, Chad. Thank you. I've used various other tools to record my screen and share it, but it's never been as simple as Loom or as integrated into what I do. Now, my career has been supporting HR and IT teams, so you'll hear me talk about using Loom to support groups like this. But that's by no means the only types of teams you can support. So please just keep in mind, Loom isn't only for the examples I happen to use. It can be for recording or capturing any kind of knowledge. A quick reminder on how to communicate. Please use the chat. YouTube's great because you can all see and hear me. But if you're watching this live, use the chat to ask live questions. Barb, Chad, and Sanjay have already figured out how to get in there. But also interact with each other. This is not just about me talking to each one of you individually. It's about us as a group learning, and the chat's the best way to do that. You'll also see me pop in polls like I did here. Have you been in a session with me before? Just to help a little bit more engagement and to give you something to think about as I'm going through things. I am also doing these sessions now professionally. I'm a freelance content creator, so you will hear me ask you to hit the like button. It's the simplest, easiest way to support me. So if you like what you're hearing or seeing, hit the like button. Also, you might choose to become a channel member, the QR code in the bottom left, and I'll put that link in the chat soon, or check out my learning courses, the link in the bottom right. So different ways to help support me. The one in the bottom right is paid, though. Also, you can save and share this. So if you have team members who use Loom or you think they might find this useful, share the link with them. And then, of course, subscribe to the channel. I do a lot of recorded videos and a lot of live learning. So a quick agenda. I can't talk about everything in Loom because there's a lot in this particular platform, but I will make sure that you walk away from this understanding the basics and how to use the tool to be successful. We'll cover questions like, is this free or paid? What differences are there between the desktop and mobile app? But also just some use cases. I'll make sure you understand the features and how to share and how all the controls work. And we'll do all of this live, so I'll show you what this looks like in Loom. Looks like most of you have been in a session with me before, which is great. Welcome, Tony. Bonjour. I'm not saying that with a good accent, but welcome. So another question to get us start, have you used Loom before? And if you have used it, just drop in the chat what you've used it to do. Now, at a high level, Loom is just a cloud-based tool for recording and sharing video and images. Now, again, I learned about this just because the company I was at happened to have it. I don't know why they chose to get Loom over something else. It just existed, which was great for me because in my role as a systems manager, I had to create a lot of like how-to articles, and I had to send a lot of updates on how the product is doing, and Loom made that really easy. I could sit down, make a recording, and share it out. It's not just for sharing video, though. It's also for collaborating. And we're starting to see more tools built into it. But it's not just to record a video and send it to Tony. It's also for Tony to go in and watch it and comment on specific areas where they have questions. And this allows me to go back and respond to them. So it's also helped me eliminate meetings. It's reduced the need for me to go sit down with Chad. Chad's using it to recording bugs. That's another big use case. When you're testing something and you find a bug, instead of writing up a report, you can record a Loom video and share that out. And then people will see and hear exactly what's going on. Now, Loom is owned by a company called Atlassian, so you might hear me mention them from time to time. And if you happen to also use other Atlassian products, it integrates very well with Atlassian products. So I'll have some examples around that, but it is a standalone tool. You don't have to use Jira or Confluence or anything else. It works great on its own. And those are some of those use cases. Making a how-to article, very straightforward. Reporting a bug. It can now sit in meetings and take notes for you. So kind of like transcribing, being that facilitator, quote unquote, that other tools can do. It can do screenshots, and this is one of the differences between the desktop and mobile or desktop and cloud version that I'll talk about. But it does more, again, than just video. And also it does have the ability to edit videos a bit. It's not a full suite video editor at this point, but for most people, most of the time, it's got a lot of great features to help you go in and clip out mistakes you maybe have made or use artificial intelligence to help get rid of the pauses. Sachin, good to see you. Now there's two different versions, and you've heard me mention Chrome and desktop. I started using the Chrome extension because that's just what I was told to use. Very lightweight, it goes right into the Chrome browser, and it just follows you around the internet as long as you're using Chrome. So that's one of the downsides of this. You have to be using that particular browser. However, it is very lightweight, and it lets you get in and very easily and quickly record exactly what you're seeing. And this worked really well for me because I worked in a company that made cloud software, so everyone's using Chrome to record stuff. Super quick to install, very easy to add to other computers. There's also a desktop download, though, and this has more features. The biggest ones that I use and the biggest differences, you can take screenshots off the desktop app, and it can also show your mouse as you're moving around. So this can have a lot of other impact on your ability to record, and you can also do like text overlays and things. I can't do those things in the Chrome browser. So depending on what I need, typically, honestly, I'm using the Chrome browser because it's easy, it's right there. But on the computer I'm using right now, I did download the desktop version because it has those extra features. It gives me a little bit more utility, a little bit more use to help me make better videos that I can share with people more easily. This is my signal to teleport into, in this case, Loom. Also, a quick reminder, all of you, if you like this, please hit the like button. Simplest way to subscribe me. Again, I am a now professional content creator, so you'll hear me say that a bit. And also check out those QR codes. Ooh, does it show your mouse now? One thing to keep in mind, too, about products like Loom is the nice folks at Atlassian are constantly improving and evolving it. So even since the last time I've done this training, there have been new features and things added into the system. Maybe it's show clicks, Nerium, is what I'm thinking of. We had a question earlier, is this free or paid? It is both. I will be demonstrating the Business Plus AI tools. So if you're on the starter, the free one, keep in mind there's going to be some differences. I'll be able to show you the video editing, so you can edit the video in the higher tiers. But in the basic tier, you can have up to 25 videos that are up to 5 minutes each. Excuse me. The meeting recorder is also included, and that can be any length. So if you just need this to sit in a meeting and help you record notes, this tier works. Really, though, they're gearing it towards, again, that collaboration, like bigger groups using it. And so at the business tier, we start to see, removing their branding and the basic editing. Again, today though, I'll be talking about the Business Plus AI, and I'll drop this link in the chat just so you all have it. But there's a more of a breakdown as you scroll down. It'll really pull apart and tease apart all the different tools. Now, the AI only shows up in that third tier. And so this is where you're going to get things like automated titles or summaries or chapters, as well as the ability to do the summarizing is really big on the longer videos. All of them include ways to organize our video, and I'll talk about this as we go. It's something I'm very guilty of, not taking time to go through and organize things to make sure they make sense and I can easily find them. So I'll show you a couple ways we can organize our content as we create it in Loom, especially challenging as you get bigger teams and as you start to record more Looms as you go. Oh no, Barb can't use Chrome. I'm sorry, my friend. There is that desktop version though, so definitely go check that out. Extensions, I swear I can spell. Morning, Kyther. Good to see you, my friend. So here is the Chrome extension. I'll just look for Loom in here. Now, I already have this installed, so you'll see it just says remove. But this is where we download that extension. And again, it's very lightweight. It just hangs out. Oh, look at that. It just opened right up for me. It just hangs out right up at the top for me. And that is how we open Loom. You'll see it just sits in Chrome right on top of something. The desktop version looks pretty much identical. There might be some slight differences in terms of the feature set, but even if you can't use the Chrome one, Barb, if you can download the Loom, what's the term I'm looking for? Program? If you can download Loom on your desktop, that is another great way. And honestly, now it's my preferred way because of the ability to grab the screenshots. And I'll come back and talk about what we're seeing right here in just a minute. But again, to answer, I forget whose question it was, Barb's, it is a separate app. It is possible at the enterprise level that there's some kind of bundle, but that would be at a large company. So just keep in mind, there's a free version. It doesn't include the editing, which to me is the biggest pain, I'll be honest. All right, it looks like about half of us have used Loom before, about half of us haven't. Next question, though, how many recordings or screenshots do you take daily? And I'll just put some rough numbers in here. I don't really know where I will fall on this scale, but probably very high. And this could be in any platform. It could be using I don't know, Camtasia, could be using Snagit. It could be, I'm trying to think of other systems I've used. Something like QuickTime even, which honestly, QuickTime is something I still use quite a bit because it's right there on my Mac. Recording, very simple though. I have it bound to hotkeys on my computer. So for example, I hit Command-Shift-L, I think, or I do Command-Shift-4 to take a screenshot. I'm very lazy. I try and keep things on the keyboard. But as we saw with that Chrome extension, it just kind of hangs out there up in my extensions bar. So one click, I can bring up the panel and start recording. And if you have the desktop, again, you can add in all these keyboard shortcuts. So this is my own preference, just so I don't have to move my mouse, which sounds like I'm very lazy, and it's very true. Chad, curious why not so much video? I understand the screenshots. I tend to bury my desktop in screenshots. Again, a bad habit I have to break. But I've found that video, again, a picture's 1,000 words. What does that make a video kind of thing? And I started using it a lot more once I had Loom. Because honestly, before that, I was doing a lot of screenshots because that was easy. And I didn't have access to a tool that made it easy to record and share. And especially in my case, because I'm also using other Atlassian products, it made it very easy to integrate. But it's as simple as hitting a couple of keys and you're off to recording. Now, once you start recording, we'll see this control panel. And this is how we tell Loom, what we want to do. Is it a screenshot or a video? What do you want to record? You can grab the whole screen or a tab. You also don't have to be on camera. And you also don't have to record audio. So sometimes when I'm in a rush, I just record the screen to show the bug or to show the thing. I try to do my best, though, to make sure I'm visible and that people can hear me. And this is for a few reasons. One, it makes it more real for the person watching. Imagine if you were on my YouTube channel and you couldn't see me or hear me. You just saw the mouse moving around. It would be a different experience. And this is where Loom does a fairly good job of helping coach you through and help people approach recording themselves, because it can be a challenge. So I'll encourage folks, as you're using Loom or similar tools, practice being on camera, because it gives more information and more to the person watching and makes it a better experience for everyone. But definitely record audio. So talk people through what you're doing at the very least, because that'll help give them, again, a better sense of what's going on. Now, again, if you're using Loom on the higher tiers, you can edit out your mistakes. So I'll show you how we can do that, where we'll make a recording and I'll cut out parts that I don't want to actually share with someone. It is a skill, though. It does take practice. And Loom is great for this because you can just make a bunch of recordings and then just throw them all away. Oh, gotcha, Chad. You just got access to it. I haven't figured it out yet. A free app called Lightshot. Ooh, I'll have to go check that one out, Kythra. There are also effects we can add. So we can do things like have a background if we want behind us. We can do things like blur aspects of the screen. And the blur is really important if you're recording something possibly sensitive. I'll show you how that works. But they keep adding more effects in, so when we record, we can kind of change the look and feel. When you're recording, you get this little control bar, and this is a horrific screenshot. I apologize for that. But you can do things like stop or pause. So typically, I'm going to do a one-shot recording. I try not to pause it too much, and that's because I lose my own train of thought. So as I'm recording, I just kind of go, and I might have rehearsed it a few times just to make sure I know what I'm going to be talking about. But you can pause it if you have to stop and think or go review something. Again, if you're on that business tier or higher, you can also go in and chop out parts of the recording. You can also selectively apply a blur to aspects of the screen as you go. So if you realize you shouldn't be displaying something, you can pause and then tell Loom to blur certain parts of the screen. So then when you record, those don't show up. I also frequently find myself mashing this delete button because I'll realize I made a lot of mistakes, or whatever I'm recording isn't ready, or the bug went away. Yeah, I have really bad luck, Chad, with things picking bad or very bizarre looking thumbnails. I don't know why I was staring into the camera like this. Hang on, I'll see if I can. There we go. Hopefully that makes it a little bit less intimidating for folks. And you can also get rid of the video preview. So the box where I just put my head so you don't have to stare at me staring at you can be hidden. I tend to keep it up, again, just so when someone's watching the recording, they get a better feeling of, oh, I'm there with Rob and I'm talking to him instead of just watching this video. And here, I'll get rid of this. Whew, there we go. Quick coffee break for Rob. Thank you, Chad. I appreciate that. And the, what was it, Dark Knight reference, I think. Quick reminder to folks, if you're liking this, please hit the like button. Simplest, easiest way to support me. I do also have channel memberships, and you'll notice Chad's icon is a different color as well as Nerium's. But I'm going to drop a link if you're curious in supporting the channel. You'll get early access to videos and some other things. Thank you, Kythra. Back over into Loom. So we don't need to talk about the pricing anymore. Instead, we're going to start just with the recording. So I'll open up, I don't know, I guess Google. And I'll use the Chrome browser extension to show this here. So I'll just click on Loom, and right away this overlay appears. And then in the bottom right, you can see myself with some kind of background. I'll just walk through some of these. I can change the rocker to take a screenshot or to record video. The default is video. So that's just what pops up. And then I can choose, what do I want to record? Just the camera. I just want to make a talking head recording, or a window, or just the current tab. So it's reading in Chrome where I should record. Then I can choose my input devices. In this case, I've got my camera and I've got my microphone. I can just click on these and flip them off though. And so again, if I don't want to be on camera, I don't have to be. It's advisable and it's usually better for folks, but I can choose to hide that. Wow, Nerium. Wow. I would... That is a crazy spike. So what Nerium is sharing on the tiers of pricing, the highest tier enterprise is, for bigger groups. Um, I didn't realize it would be 6 times the cost of the Business Plus AI. That is incredible. Anyway, um, I got to get over that in my head. You can also change the audio. I almost always use audio. Again, I'm talking someone through a bug. I'm talking someone through a how-to. I want to make sure they can hear me as I do that because that will give them more information, more context than just seeing. I've got the big start record button, and then I've got all these effects, which they just let me change what's behind my head in the bottom left. I can do different colors. And they also have this idea of a canvas, which is relatively new. This will put not really a background, but something around the recording. So here I'll do a news one. And now when I run the recording, it's going to kind of insert that into that canvas. Or at least I'm pretty sure that's what it will do. There we go. So it gives me this more like a slideshow kind of idea, where I can add in different text. I can do things like change the background. Honestly, I have not played with this particular feature too much. And that's just because my use cases tend to be narrow. What I'm using Loom for is recording here's the bug I see, here's the update I have. But that is one way to kind of build a presentation almost on the fly to make it easier for us as creators, got it, to make engaging content. Now, I mentioned the blur. All I did was click on the blur option, and you'll notice it's not like I'm painting on the screen. Instead, Loom is reading the underlying HTML, and it will blur out that area of the screen, even if I scroll around. Am I zoomed in? Thank you, Chad. Here I can blur specific areas just by clicking on them. Thank you, Barb. If I could give points or something to people in the chat, that would be great. There is a little top fans thing, but that's entirely based on what you all do in the chat. I can't give you a reward in the channel to do that. But I would give Barb and Chad some points there because they helped me out. Thank you. I'll pull back and show you this again. Come back, Loom. So using this blur tool, I don't get to draw on the screen. You'll notice it's putting a selection box around things. And that's because Loom is reading into the HTML and blurring out the areas I click. This is really useful because it means if I scroll around, that's going to stay blurred. So it's not saying this area of the screen, it's saying this particular aspect of the web page. And this makes it really useful when I'm recording because I don't have to worry about, accidentally hitting the scroll wheel and now showing everyone my home address or something like that. It's just going to keep it blurred as I record. You also have access to this as you're recording, so you can do it on the fly. You can pause the recording, back it up a little, and then blur. I also have some options like settings. There's a light mode. I tend to use dark mode, but we can see light mode looks light, dark mode looks dark. Now, most of these I just tend to leave. I like the recording countdown. It gives me 3 seconds before I start recording, before it gets all in my face. Sometimes I will hide the recording controls. And the recording controls are this little panel in the bottom. And I just get that out of my way visually so I don't have to worry about staring at it. We can also do things like flip the camera and then show the total recording time. This last one I tend to keep up just so I know how long I've been going. I try to keep my recordings pretty short, 2 or 3 or 4 minutes, just to help ensure folks stay focused when they watch them. And having this timer on the screen really helps. So that's the little widget. It just lives up there. And to record, all I have to do is hit start recording and then pick my screen. I have my wonderful countdown. Are we recording? Loom? Well, this is fun. It looks like it's recording, but my little bar is not. There we go. So now I'm recording. I can stop it, pause it, rewind. or I have that selective blur again. Now this automatically pauses my recording, so I can now pick, oops, I forgot to blur out the Google logo, for example. And now I can keep going. So that's how quick it is to spin up a recording. About 2 clicks, and I've started recording something. I'm going to throw away that recording. All right, looks like most of us only take between 0 and 3 screenshots or recordings a day. Nothing wrong with that. I'm always just curious. Some of us are taking over 15. I'm probably in the 15 plus bucket when I'm really in it, but on average closer to the 4 to 8. This is a leading question. How frequently do you organize your content? And I'm asking this because I am awful at it. I tend to end up with just a lot of recordings with no names. Or I end up with a bunch of screenshots that are just the timestamp they were taken. Or I end up with a bunch of Loom videos that don't have a name. And this is where Loom goes beyond just the recording. So right after this, we'll go make a recording together, and then I'll show you how we can organize it. Because it's one thing to have that Loom, that video. It's something else entirely for other people to be able to find it or to figure out where things are. Now, Loom, in addition to having that screen recording ability, also has, excuse me, they call them spaces or just containers to organize content. By default, you have your own library, and that's where your video and your screenshots live. But these can be shared in different spaces. So if you have different teams, maybe it's by department, you can put the video into a engineering space. Or maybe you have, and I see Never and Quarterly fighting in the Quarterly's winning out in the poll. Or maybe you have your spaces organized by project or some other way. And then you can set up access on those. So people who are involved with the JQuil project know to go to that folder. Or people who are in the HR team know to go to that space to see their content. Again, this is something I am bad at. I need to get better at, but gives us the ability to organize all the stuff we create. Once I started using Loom, I started making a lot more videos and screenshots. And I realized that I had to organize it. Chad, I found if you just buy a new computer, it comes just as a blank slate. It makes it very easy. Now, again, we have this idea of spaces, and we can just create additional spaces. It's just a container. Think of it like a room in a library or a box you put stuff in, and you just know what's in there. Please give them good names. Naming convention shows up quite a bit, and we've had some interesting discussions in my Discord channel. So if you're looking for additional chat on concepts around this kind of thing, check us out in Discord. I just put the link in the chat. It's just a chat platform where we connect regularly, over 200 folks sharing ideas on Loom and Atlassian stuff. Your own library, too, will also just start to fill up. Again, at the start, like that half of a joke I said about Chad, just buy a new laptop. When you start using Loom, it's blank and it seems great. And then a few months in, you're going to realize you're just up to your neck in things. So making time on a regular basis to organize, a very important aspect of maintaining our content, especially if we're on working with a team, because more and more folks will be just throwing things into Loom. So a few minutes once a month to make sure things are organized is more than beneficial. Within your library, too, you can add folders. So we'll see when we jump into my library, I have a couple of folders to help me organize my own ideas. Miriam, you're in a really good spot in terms of just starting to use the tool. I'm kind of jealous that you're at the beginning, so to speak, because you'll have that opportunity to provide guidance. More than happy to share ideas and thoughts on it or to bounce them around. And I would love to hear what you come up with in terms of org-wide best practice or ideas. Selfishly, just so I know, but always curious how folks manage their knowledge, because there's so much here. And honestly, folks tend to put it way at the bottom of their priority list. And then they all realize a few months in, hey, we can't find anything. It's like, yes, because we didn't organize it. Now, I mentioned way at the start that Loom isn't just video recording, it's also collaborative. And we're starting to see some more features around this, but the most obvious way is by sharing. When we record a Loom, we can share it with our team. Again, I record a bug, I can then share it with engineering so they can see what's going on. I record a product update, I can share that with my stakeholders so they get the update. Onboarding videos for new hires. Excuse me. A note to myself to look at later, I might not share. And then we can also comment as we watch the video. This for me is some of the best interaction and has helped me delete the need for a meeting or for an in-person thing. Not that meetings and in-person things are bad. However, for something like a bug report, a weekly status update, maybe we all don't need to sit down and listen to Rob talk for 20 minutes. Maybe we can just watch him for 10 minutes at 2x speed and put comments in where we have thoughts and ideas. And so this commenting along the video has been really useful for me because it allows my team to comment on the areas they have questions or the areas they want to add or improve what's going on. And so that aspect of collaboration has been very helpful. And of course, they can also share a video back with their thoughts or their ideas. And I've mentioned that Loom is owned by Atlassian and highly integrated with their systems. So if you happen to use Confluence and Jira, you'll see a lot of just built-in integrations with Loom. Annoyingly, if you don't use Loom and you use Confluence or Jira, it's still in there and you'll get these little pop-ups. However, if you use these systems, it makes it very, very easy to go in and drop in Loom videos on a bug ticket, on a Confluence page, etc. Chad, it is one of my favorite features, the ability to comment in directly on the timeline, because you can see the exactly where someone commented. Oh, right here when I was talking about this update, Chad dropped a comment around he doesn't understand, or he needs more information, or whatever Chad's comment is. Makes it very easy to kind of get someone's intent and get context behind their comment. All right, folks, coffee break for Rob. Please take a minute to hit that like button if you like the content. We've got about 35 folks and about 7 likes, which is great. Also, please consider becoming a channel member. Lots of great content coming out, as well as some member-only videos and other things you can do. I love this tip, Barb. When you record the screenshot or video, when you save it, give it a descriptive name. Again, this is my bad habit. I don't stop and think, what should I call this thing? I just tend to save them or share them. I like how you do stop and think, though. That's a really important habit that I think more people need. And then also how you're using, that's not camel case, I forget the name of it, where everything's capitalized, but you're capitalizing the first letters of the word, so when you see the file name, it's easier to know, or easier to read it. All right, so here we have my library, and this would have every video that I've recorded and haven't moved around. On the left, I've got things like meetings. So if I'm using Loom to record meetings, I don't have any examples in here. It's relatively new. And actually, yeah, about half of us are organizing content on a quarterly basis, which is about what I expected. Just curious if folks are using any kind of tool AI to record meetings. I'm seeing it a lot more frequently. Zoom has one, Loom has one, Firefly AI, throw a rock, you hit 5. But curious if folks use them and what the most useful aspect is. But Loom on all of its tiers can do this. So even on the free tier, you can have Loom sit in and watch your meetings, and then you'll have that recording. Now at the higher tiers, it can do things like summarize. So those are going to be recorded in here. Really, though, the library is where everything is dropped automatically. And we'll see I have these videos along the bottom. And then I've got a couple of folders, like a Loom demo folder. Even a video about using Loom folders in the folder. And each of these videos, I can see a little bit more information on them. How many views they have, how many comments. So in this video, if I open it up, I should see a general comment. So in addition to putting comments at particular points along the video, we can also just comment overall on the video. So someone might say, hey, thanks for this update, or hey, that is very useful. But as we're watching,
Hey, pretty quick update.
we might also pause and comment, or you'll even see there's little emoji reactions like a thumbs up. Right there, I've got a high five, I think that's supposed to be right over here. So as you have people watching these videos, you'll start to see, excuse me, more and more interactions. Now I can click the comment icon to see the comments that are available, or just push the comment button to add my own comment. And this will drop it right in at the timestamp, so wherever I put it. And this will add the comment in context. And again, that to me is one of the most useful aspects of this, because my team can just come in here after I've done the recording a week later and leave comments, and then I can come back and take a look. There is also, I believe, come here. At mentioning. So I can at mention individuals and they'll get notified on it. So I can use this a little bit more proactively than just dropping the comment and kind of running away. We've got folks using Copilot, using Teams. It is interesting to see this use of AI becoming so prevalent, just having the a recorder floating around helping us out. One thing that Loom can do too is automatically build summaries and insert chapters. So depending on the video, this can help folks find stuff in there. Again, it's using AI to figure this out, so you've got to be on that Business Plus tier. And with any AI tool, you want to double check, like, hey, does this make sense? Or is this accurate? But we'll see a lot of AI sprinkled in through here to try and help us out. I'm just starting to learn these, so I don't know how much utility there is. For example, there's now suggested tasks. So Loom will have tasks for folks that it'll try and suss out that come out of the video. So again, it's reading the transcript and trying to identify what can we do. Barb not using AI. I have some friends who spend a lot of time and really invest the effort and energy to learn it, and they find it useful. I am still just learning it, so I'm experimenting with the tools. But because I'm now this more full-time content creation, less corporate recording, I'm not in here as much. So I can't tell for me if it's a just lack of exposure to the tool, like I need to use it more, or the tool just doesn't fit my needs or something else. Now, within this video, I mentioned we can also do editing. And I just have an edit tab up here in the top right. And this will let me do a bunch of different things. There are some automated tools. For example, remove filler words, all the ums and the ahs. And actually, maybe I'll just record a quick Loom right here. Maybe I won't record over a Loom video just so we don't get too confused with what we're looking at. So we're going to do a quick recording, and I'm going to throw in a bunch of ums and ahs and things that we don't want, just to kind of demonstrate how the tool can help with that. Okay, we are now recording this, and I think we are recording it several times. Okay, we're recording, and here we are talking about Google, and isn't Google great? It's a search engine, etc., blah, blah, blah. Okay, so what I did there is I added a bunch of ums and ahs and stutters and things that I probably wouldn't want to share with my team. And what this will demonstrate is that the AI can both pull this out, but also as a human, I can go delete this stuff. So it takes a minute to record. Kai3, you kind of read my mind, my friend. I am seeing this in a lot of systems. Oh, we have AI now. Okay, great. Why do you have it? Well, because it's AI. Cool. I feel like this is, every new technology has this phase of everyone's trying to apply it to everything, like throw it at the wall and see what sticks. I'll be curious in a few years how it settles. Now, for Loom, where I've noticed the AI being helpful, meeting summaries, pulling out action items, even something simple, like you'll notice it gave a title to the video. This is really simple and a very low lift, but I'm not as good as Barb. I don't remember to go and entitle my videos properly. So the fact that it's even just suggesting a title to me has utility. It is useful. It makes my life a little bit easier. Where I think it can help folks in terms of editing is by chopping out these filler words, cutting out silences, things like that. So if I go in and edit this video, what we're going to see in here is the video, and then along the bottom, the waveform of the video. And we can look at the transcript. And a lot of this is, I don't know, whatever. This might be something I re-record, or it could be something I just push a button. And the AI goes and, does some editing for me. So this to me can be useful because I can see it help it be more accessible. People who are not wanting to record because they are self-conscious or don't feel like they know how to can maybe overcome part of that because they know this tool can back them up. So this is some of the AI we have. They're starting to add more and more as we go. Even the remove fillers or remove the spaces, I think, is relatively new. And that brings me into the next topic. Over half of us use tools to record meetings, which is about what I expect. Now, this is definitely a leading question. Do you ever make mistakes when you record? Yes, 100%. One of the things I do to help make it a bit more fun is when I'm recording, I'll do like a gag reel where I'll just grab all of the mistakes I made. And then I'll turn that into something fun. That's what I do to help with my mistakes. Some advice here when recording, though. When you are recording, don't stop and reset too much. Just record, because you can go and edit out the oopsies, the ums, the ahs, that kind of stuff. And this was a hard habit for me because I was trying to just record it perfectly every time, and I was driving myself crazy because there'd be a minor thing, I'd look the wrong way, whatever. Learning to understand it is both good enough and we can fix some things in edit is a very important aspect of recording. To Barb's naming conventions. When I build learning courses, which you can check out my learning courses in the QR code in the bottom right, I used to record them in the same way. I would mention in the recording, check out the next lecture for this specific thing, or I'd number them in a certain way, and then I'd realize I got to change the order, and then all of a sudden the numbers don't make sense anymore. So I've stopped putting numbers at the end. Instead, I just group them by type or by section to help get around that particular problem. We're going to jump back in and edit that horrible video I made, and we're going to use what they call the waveform editor. Now, this is common in editing software where you'll see the audio expressed as a wave, and this is how I'll visually know where there's a pause. Another good tip when I'm recording, if I make a mistake, I'll clap or snap, and that will show up as a spike in here and make it very easy for me to find it in edit. So I know when I see a big spike, that was probably me making a mistake, so I should go look around that. But this tool makes it very easy for us to slice out at parts of the video, and we can even stitch in new pieces at the start and the end of it. So if we have a separate recording we want to add to the start or the end, we can do that as well. Right now, we cannot insert into the middle, though. So I can't chop out the middle 10 seconds and replace it with 10 other seconds. I can, however, put clips at the start or the end. So if I want to re-record the beginning, I can do that. Or if I have an intro or something like that, I can record that separately and then insert it before or after the recording that I've made. And so far, 100% of us have made mistakes while we record, which is very calming to me because that means I'm not alone. All right, quick coffee break and a quick reminder. Hit the like button if you're liking this. Got about, 40 folks in here and about 9 likes. Easiest way to support me. Also helps other people find this content. But also check out the QR codes on your screen. Other ways to support me. Become a channel member and get called out in chat quite a bit, like my friend Chad here. But also get early access to videos and some fun emojis or emoticons. Emoji cons? Fun pictures in chat. So here's my exploring the greatness of Google video, which AI has determined to name this. Um, and I'm actually going to remove the quick AI edit we did. And we're going to just take a look at this down at the bottom. Now, if I play this... Okay, we are now recording this, and I think we are recording it several times. One, you'll notice I'm talking kind of quick. I tend to watch videos at 2 or 2.5 speed. I can understand and comprehend about as well at that speed, so that's why it's going kind of quick. So maybe I'll slow this down. I'll do 1 times. There we go. With that. Okay, so there's that huge pause at the beginning, and I just say, okay, I don't think we need that bit. So I can either hit split, and that'll let me chop this out and delete, or I can actually just go up to the transcript, and I can delete it from here. So if there's individual words I don't want in the recording, I can cut those out, and it both chops it out of audio, but also takes it out of the video. So if I play this video now, we are now recording this, and I think we are recording it several times. So right away, it sounds a little better. I don't have the and the big long pause. And I could keep doing this manually, or again, I can use this AI, kind of magic, trim out everything you don't like. If I use the AI tool, I can go back and restore individual words. So when I delete something in the recording, it's not gone forever. It's just more removed from this particular one, and I can then choose to save it. So now I have a recording that's a little bit more useful. I won't say it's the best because it's still a bad recording. We are now recording this, and here we are talking about Google, and isn't Google great? It's a search engine, etc., blah, blah, blah. All right. Now, one thing to notice here, the word recording is chopped out, and it also looks for repetition. So this is a newer feature. It's going to pull out the ums and ahs, but it's also going to try and identify if I'm rambling or repeating myself. So again, I always double check this. I read it and I go, okay, does that make sense to me? And if it does, I leave it. If not, I can always change it. And then I can also chop out silences. So if I have big gaps in audio, I can pull those out. It didn't find any in this case. Another thing I don't do much, at least in video, I do this a lot in screenshots, is add an overlay. So we can do things like put a big arrow, pointing at part of the screen. Or we can add a box. So there's some editing we can do to make it more visually appealing. And then we can control where those things appear in the timeline just by clicking and dragging. I haven't gotten too complex with this. Again, I typically will annotate, I call it, or put overlays on my screenshots, not so much my video. But this can make it more engaging and help people find exactly what you're talking about. And here we are talking about Google, and isn't Google great? Bars and boxes and things appear right on top. I can also slot in a background. This just gives it kind of a frame. Again, not something I have ever personally done, but it makes it look a little bit nicer. Hey, congrats, Nerium. It's really hard. As humans, it's really hard not to have those filler words because it's the little break we have, you heard one right there, in our thinking. And it's just naturally what we do. And this is where most people, I feel, don't engage with recording themselves because they feel embarrassed, they feel weird, they feel odd. For me, it was just doing it enough to realize, oh, I do it a lot, and being okay with that, and then going into editing, and if I need to, removing them. That said, if you practice what you're going to say, like if I practice this particular recording several times, when I would do it live and record it, there would be less filler words, less pauses because I'd be ready for it. I wouldn't have to think about what I'm going to say next. You see me do them a lot on these live trainings because these are live. I don't have the ability to stop, pause, and rewind very easily to correct myself. But it's always a great feeling when you do a recording and you realize, hey, I got this one. So that's editing. Then we can just hit finish, and this will save the edit. So now that quick, ugly video we made is still quick, only marginally ugly, but has this nice background now. We can also do things like add captions with AI. We are now recording this, so this can just pop up. And then there are other things you can create from it. Again, depending on what's been integrated, you can compose an email from the message or a bug ticket into Jira if you use that. You can also add a call to action or a link. And this could be click to learn more. This could be click to submit a ticket, I don't know, any kind of hyperlink you want, you can insert this button into the video in one of the corners. So this can be a useful way to share information or to get someone to do some kind of follow-up. We got the transcript. I'm just trying to see if they've added anything else new. Ooh, we can add a customized thumbnail. That's neat. And here we are talking about, oh no, stop Google video. I don't think we need that video anymore. All right, folks. Haven't been too many questions, so I'm curious, what questions do you have about Loom before I pop into my last slide about next steps and what else is there? Again, I use this tool, especially with my prior job, pretty much daily to send in bug reports, to record how-to articles, to provide updates. It's a great way to quickly just record an idea and share it with someone. And then, here we go. Then it's in your library, and from here you can send it to other people. You can hit share. They can comment on it. They can work on it. Barb, if you put a recording on a Jira ticket, is there a static file? So when you're using Loom, everything is recorded in the cloud. You can download these as static files. See, this is what I mean about thumbnails. I think the Loom is just trolling me. Anyway. We can download these as static files. Oh, nope, go away. Stop it. Come back. But when I attach this to a Jira ticket or a Confluence page, it's linking in the cloud recording. You can download these as a separate file and put that on the Jira ticket, but that's a separate thing. That's adding an attachment. If you add the Loom video, it links to this video. And if you go over the 25 video limit, I'm not sure. I haven't tested that actually. My assumption is when you hit 25, you just can't do more recordings. You have to go in and delete some. And I'm saying that's my assumption because most systems, when they have a limit, aren't going to delete something for you. They're going to say you can't do anything more until you delete something. But that's my assumption. But when you do add the video, it's just basically linking to this particular video in your Loom library. Kyther's point about taking 2 minutes to give things names saves a whole lot of time later. Yes. It does take that minute or two. It is worth it, I promise. Otherwise, you end up with a bunch of recordings like untitled 1 through 9. Or if you're like me, a whole bunch of Confluence pages that are just untitled page number 6. Ooh, one person never makes mistakes when they record. I would love to know how you do that, whoever that was. All right, folks. I've got one last slide, but what's next? Go get hands-on. Go just start practicing with this tool. If you have access to it through work, that's great. Please go leverage all the advanced features, but even the free tier can be useful in some context. Again, you've got some limits, 25 videos, no more than 5 minutes each. But even that can be helpful in recording your thoughts or sharing what you see with someone you're working on a project with. Maybe they don't record. I'm kind of curious now, Nuriam, if we hit that 25 limit, what happens? How does Loom handle that scenario? Please head over to Atlassian's community, community.atlassian.com. There is an aspect of the community just for Loom, so you can go in and ask questions and learn more about the tool. Maybe they're Bob Ross and only have happy accidents. But talk to other people about Loom. A great way to do that at these recordings or these trainings. I also have a Discord server, and this is chat with about 200 folks on Atlassian products, including Loom. Chad, thank you for the shout out, sir. I appreciate that. I'll always take compliments, especially when they're delivered to me. But keep engaging and keep recording. So please go in and just start recording things. This will help you build the habit of creating this type of content and sharing it, but also then help your team by giving them more knowledge, by reducing the need for meetings, by giving them better context. So definitely check out Loom. For me, it was worth it. I tripped over it accidentally, but found it very, very useful. And that's about all I have. So I'm going to keep the chat open for a couple minutes. I'll double check to see what questions I might have missed. But thank you all for learning with me. I really enjoy this, so please hit the like button. I'm sure more than 9 of you liked this. There's about 45 of us in here. So take a minute to hit the little thumbs up at the bottom. And check out my learning platform, learn.heen.tech. Different training videos, mostly on Atlassian products right now that I'm expanding out. Or consider becoming a channel member, which you can do on a link that I will drop shortly. You'll get early access to videos, shoutouts, and live trainings. A whole bunch of great stuff. So while I review the video, take a minute, see if you have any more questions. Otherwise, have a great, I'm going to say Tuesday. It is Wednesday. Have a great Wednesday. Kythra doesn't have access to the Loom editor because they're not on the paid tier, so they use another tool to edit video. So that is another thing you could consider, using Loom to record and then something else to actually perform the edit. All right, folks, not seeing any more questions, so do want to thank you again. Thank you so much for coming. Kythra, it's good to see you. I might shift away from so many 6 a.m. sessions now that I don't have to be at an office from 9 to 5. But I'll definitely continue a couple in the week, and I'm looking at having some later in the day, mostly for my own sanity, so I can sleep in a little. But I'm glad you're here. Barb, you are very welcome, my friend. Glad you could join us. Ha! You're right, my friend. You're stuck in Loom. Oh, that's right. Honestly, if you're at that level, Kythra, just OBS to record. Okay, folks, thank you again for joining me. I'm going to shut down and get started with the rest of my day, but enjoy looming wherever you're at, and I look forward to seeing y'all again here sometime soon.